Happening, party people? Man, I am live and in color. Is this shirt backwards? Man, I'm sorry. I don't know how to get the camera orientated so that this stuff is right. But hey, I think YouTube is catching up to where I'm at. I am live now. So yeah, today I decided to go live. I wanted to go live yesterday, but wasn't prepared. Hold on a second. Let me go grab something I need real quick. They not like us. I'm back. Back in action. So I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come on. We got 6 people on. Some people got notifications, some people didn't. And I think it's primarily because maybe you don't have notifications set up on your YouTube thing. I got a lot of subscribers, a few people engage, um, and Mita didn't get a notification. So that's where it's at. If you are live, you can hear me fine. Throw something in the chat. Maybe say where you're from, something like that, so we know everything's going well on here. Okay, I see a chat there. T5 Gray. What kind of T5 is that? T5 Gray? And hello and welcome. I don't know what the delay is like. Minnesota. Is that like the Twin City area? What kind of T5 you have? Is it a S60, 850? What kind is it? Or is it something newer? Heck, they got XC90s that are T5. Ray. That's right. 855. Sweet. So today I decided to come on. They say we should have a, hey Cesar, they say we should have a topic. I'll have a topic, but it's not that I'm married to it or nothing. But I guess that's a goal. This one I put a title on there that I was going to talk about junkyard finds. If you've had the opportunity to visit a junkyard, go into the junkyard and pull your own car parts, put in there, say, yes, I've done that in the chat. But I guess most of my junkyard finds are probably attached to a story. And I got a junkyard secret that I'm going to share with the members. And man, it can be fun getting stuff out of the junkyard that you need. This morning, I kicked my day off. I went straight to the junkyard and pulled the engine out of there. I don't know how to flash pictures up, but yesterday or a few days ago, or let me tell a long story. Short stories don't seem as fun. At 960, welcome. Bertil, welcome from Sweden. Nice. I wanted to get on that it would be early enough for people in Europe to log in. Let me ask a question. Is Great Britain the same time zone as Germany? I don't know. I'm just asking. T5 Gray said he'd been to salvage yards. Yep, he's in the Twin City. So long story long, there was a gentleman that lives in Texas. He came to Cincinnati, where I'm living, to visit family. Well, he had a coolant leak situation, and he's in the 850R. I think it's a wagon, white wagon maybe. Well, he came to Cincinnati, and the coolant situation got worse. I call it coolant roulette. He blew the engine up. That's been about a year ago. So he contacted me recently, let's say 2 weeks. And we've been kind of going back and forth, seeing if there's something I could do to help him out. And I had two T5 engines out of like the 850 cars that I didn't have an immediate need for that I could sell. So I threw them things on my website. Man, it might have been the night or the day after I did that live or something like that. Those things were gone the next morning. People jumped on those things. So I didn't know there was such a need for engines. So I sold the engine that the guy needed or said he wanted. He was kind of undecisive, hadn't made up his mind yet. So he contacted me a few days later, said, yeah, he wants to do the engine. So, man, it's hard to find these T5 engines. I needed one once before, and I actually traveled 3 states to find an engine for an 850R. And went and got that thing. It took me 2 months to find it. I ended up finding it in Dallas, Texas at a salvage yard. And me and my buddy pulled that engine. It was probably the toughest day of his life, he claims. But we got the engine out of there, got it installed in the car, got that car back on the road. So long story short, the guy that has this car here in Cincinnati needed an engine. And just so happened, somebody junked a V70R 98. And that basically has the same engine. The one that's in my car is a 4T. I thought it was 5. And the one that's in this 98 is a 4T6. A little bit newer version of it, but really it's the same exact engine. I don't know if any parts won't work on those engines, and I don't know if why they called it a 6 instead of just leaving it 5. Maybe they changed something in the stroke of it or something. Something's just a little bit different that they called it something different. So yesterday I went to go get that engine, check it out the best I could, get the engine so I could refresh that engine and help that guy out. And man, it was hot yesterday. The heat index was in the 90s. It was like 92, 94 degrees. Heat index like 98. And for most of the time, I had the sun behind the hood. So, and there was a little bit of a breeze. It was trying to rain. Wasn't bad. But I got to a point where I needed a tool out of the car, and that was lunchtime for me, 1:30. So I took a lunch break. You got to gather all your tools. You can't leave them in the junkyard. Somebody will help themselves to it. And I went to have lunch. I came back. The sun had shifted. And it got hotter. It rained like 2 minutes. Made it more humid. And I went out there thinking I was going to be out there for an hour. But really an hour was too long in that heat with no water or nothing. Because I didn't take water back out there with me. I figured I'd be an hour. I wouldn't need water. No. I needed water in like 15 minutes. So I got that engine out. I tested it the best I could. It rolled over real smooth. Spark plugs looked like they were running really rich. They were black. But I took some paper towel, wadded it up, put it in a rubber glove, pulled all the spark plugs, and I stuck the rubber glove down in the spark plug wells. Then I had my jump box. I activated the starter with my jump box so the engine cranked. And when that thing cranked, it would pop the glove out. And that was my way of seeing if it had compression. I'm trying to figure out why this car is in the salvage yard. It's not wrecked. Could be a bad fuel pump, man. They tell you $1,800 to put a fuel pump in the car. That may be the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know. It had some rust in it where the rear trailing arm was broke off with rust. That might have sent it to the junkyard. I just don't know. Could have had a bad transmission. I don't know. The engine oil was relatively clean. I tried to run a magnet down in the oil drain bolt hole. I pulled the oil drain bolt. It looked clean inside the oil drain bolt. So, man, you're welcome with that AC. Welcome here, Rick. So I got the engine out. The junkyard is like, if you've been to junkyards, you probably know that junkyards, they kind of file things however they want. But this junkyard is, man, it seemed like it might be a quarter of a mile from the cash register out to where the Volvos, BMWs, and Audis and those European cars are parked. And it's not flat. It goes up and down, kind of like a roller coaster grade. And man, they wouldn't come get the engine. A lot of junkyards I'm at, they got loaders, forklifts, whatever you want to call them. When you tell them you got an engine ready to be purchased, they'll send that forklift over. It may take 10 minutes. It may take, a half hour. I've seen it take almost 2 hours before. But they come, pick the engine up, bring it to the cash register, let you cash out. Well, these folks said they wasn't doing that. I had to get it up to the front myself, even if I had to use a wheelbarrow. Well, they had this, I guess, platform style dolly type of wagon, open wagon, steel great. I'll show it on my video next time I post a video when I get to that point. Man, I pushed that thing up this little grade. Man, I don't know if I made it 10 yards. I was too hot, too dehydrated, too spent, sweated, confused, disoriented. I didn't make it out of there with that engine last night. And it was getting close to closing time. I left it there, went back first thing this morning. It was there. One of my buddies locally here, Andrew, helped me go get that engine out of there and put it in my little car trailer. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I purchased a little trailer, utility trailer, so that I can haul stuff like that without putting it in the car. Put that thing in the trailer, got it home fine. It was awesome. So I hit the junkyard first thing this morning. And man, it seemed like a good engine. It really does. I'm going to try to do a better compression test on it here with a starter before I do anything else with it. I probably won't be turning that engine much without oil in there. That's not really good. Need to put some oil in there and do a compression test on it. So I'll lift it up, put oil in there, do a compression test, drain the oil back out until I put that thing on a rotisserie, because I'm going to pull the oil pan off, reseal the oil pan. I'm going to pull the cylinder head off, pull all the valves out of it, clean up all the valves, put new valve stem seals in it, and do a new rear main seal. I mean, this engine is 27 years old. 28 years old. Put new front crank seal on it. All the seals are going to be fresh, going to have fresh head gasket. When I drop this in this 850, that engine should go 150, 200,000 miles. A fresh rebuild like that. I'm doing everything except the crank components. So, and of course, when I pull ahead, I'll be able to see the cross hatching in there. Timing belt was in good shape, stuff like that. And this engine had good Volvo parts on there. So you can get some good things out of the salvage yard. Of course, there's always a risk that it had overheated or something like that, blew the head gasket. But there was no fluid mix. That's kind of my deal breaker on engines. So if somebody brings a car to me and say, hey, I blew the head gasket and it's a white block and fluids mixed, that head got really hot. And there's a chance that the block is damaged. I've seen oversized cylinder balls. I've seen, burn up cranks. I've seen heads that melted too bad where you couldn't even rebuild the head. It warped too much. So if you overheat one, not the end of the world. If it mixes fluid, my policy is get a new engine. because you're running coolant in your oil system. You could wear a crank out. You could damage the turbo. Just all kind of things. And I don't know how long it'll run like that with the fluid mix, but if the engine is normally too messed up. And when I've seen an engine overheat that much, there's like PCV parts, plastic covers melted, all that stuff is gone. So that's an engine I just pulled out of the salvage yard, and I went to the salvage yard this morning. When they opened up, me and Andrew went in there, poked around a little bit, hauled that engine out of there, threw it in my trailer. It's out here in my trailer now, so that's a good thing. Now, a couple of my best junkyard finds. I think I mentioned I got a secret, but I'm only going to share that secret with people on my Patreon site or members here. I'm going to make a video to just tell you how to do a couple of junkyard tricks if you frequent the junkyard. Let me see what this thing says. I may be doing it next, but have other parts to replace first. Okay, so one of my favorite junkyard finds. I was traveling around on my helper tour. I think it was my first helper tour. I got back home to Albuquerque, New Mexico. While I was in Albuquerque, I needed to renew my suspension because I was traveling around the country and hey, thank you, Andrew, and was wearing my suspension out. I'm hearing noises back there, wheels rubbing, all this weight in the car, traveling around on this helper tour. So I get a couple of suspension parts, and somebody said, hey, here's some Bilsteins you could have. They claim there was like 14,000 miles on the Bilsteins. I took them. I went to go put them in the car. When I got to the rear shocks, lifted the car up, my anti-sway bar was broke. I mean, like, broke, like, in half. I was like, man. Well, I got my car in this guy's lift in his garage. He wasn't charging me to do that, and I helped him out some things, but I need to get that car off that lift. So I said, man, let me go see if I can find an anti-sway bar in the salvage yard. So I dashed down to the salvage yard, I don't know, 15 minutes away maybe. I get to the salvage yard, and there's like 5 850s in there. 3 sedans and 2 wagons. I go in the salvage yard, and 2 of those cars didn't even have rear anti-sway bars. I was shocked. I thought all the Volvo 850s had rear anti-sway bars, but 2 of them didn't even have them. And then one of the 850s, I think that sway bar, anti-sway bar was broke. And no, that was it. There was one left. This one 850 left was ugly. I mean, like, it was ugly. The car had 3 different panels painted different colors. The headliner was coming down. It stunk. The seats were torn up. This 850 was ugly. But I got my car on somebody's lift. I need to get it off there. So I go and I look under the car. And to me, it looked like it had a homemade anti-sway bar. I'm like, crap. Like, who made an anti-sway bar? So I grabbed my tools real quick. I ripped that thing out. And this bar was kind of thick, and it was heavier than the one I had. I was like, man, this is crazy. So I got this rear anti-sway bar in my hand. I'm kind of feeling like I got stuck with this ugly car's anti-sway bar. And as I go to check out of the junkyard, which it was like 5-10 minutes to closing, it hits me. This anti-sway bar is heavy duty. It might be a IPD anti-sway bar. So I open up my phone real quick, go to their website. Sure enough, man, this is one of the original IPD heavy duty 25 millimeter anti-sway bars. I think they're 25 millimeters. I was like, crap. Now this was Saturday evening. The next morning is Sunday morning. Now, after I pulled that anti-sway bar and realized it was an IPD bar, I'm thinking, heck, I didn't check the front bar. I wonder if the front bar is also one of the heavy duty IPD bars. Well, the place was closed. I couldn't go check. So the next morning, I got a dilemma. Am I going to church or am I going to the junkyard to see about this anti-sway bar? Because the next morning, Monday morning, that car was going to be crushed. That car was on the crush row. Like the next row of cars they take out. You know, the junkyard is like a big parking lot. And they park everybody in order, kind of like they would do a big sports event. And as they get new cars, they clear out the ones that's been there the longest. So this particular car was on the next row that was going to get crushed probably Monday. So Sunday morning I wake up, am I going to church? Am I going to junkyard? Because if that thing has a front IPD anti-sway bar, I want that too. Now, this was back when I was like broke. I mean, I was broke. I was running my car into the red on the fuel gauge like 2-3 times a week. And they charged me like $16 for this anti-sway bar in the junkyard. Those bars are like $450. I'm going to go check, see if that next one. So after church, I go down to the junkyard. Sure enough, that front bar was one of them great big, thick, heavy IPD anti-sway bars. So I snatched that thing out. And I tell you, I didn't know how to spot those bars before. But when I found those, I know how to spot them now. I bet you I've missed out on those things a couple of times, not knowing how to size them up and look for them. But I know now. So that was probably one of my favorite all-time finds at the junkyard, a set of IPD anti-sway bars. So, man, it's just nice when you finally strike gold out there. Let me check a couple comments, see if anybody left a comment there. Rick, yes, I am in a place that's kind of surrounded by self-serve salvage yards, so I still have that opportunity. They don't get as much as the Volvos if I like, especially the P80 ones, but I do have them to choose from. Like, it's almost never none in there, so I can always go. And right now, I've got like a hit list of parts that I get because some parts are drying up. One of the things I usually always get is a mass airflow sensor. If the car is in there and it's got a Bosch mass airflow sensor, that's something that's easy for me to test. I take it. I gamble if it's good or bad, but I normally pop them in my car, drive them for a day or two, and take them back out, package them up, set them on the shelf. I probably got 8 or 9 Bosch mass airflow sensors that are good. I tested them, they work good. Another thing that I like to get is the sunroof trim. It's easy to get those out of the 960s. You just grab it and rip it out. It's rubber. And the 850s, S&V 70s, not so much. Those things are plastic. They're brittle. You have to be like a hood liner master to get those things out without breaking. But I've learned if you pinch them and roll them in and down, they unclip and they come out a lot easier. Hey, Jake, man, thank you so much for your donation. Would you ever consider doing a manual swap on the 940 for a customer? Absolutely, man. Those cars deserve a manual swap. You know, you find the parts, man, we get that thing swapped. I've actually seen a couple of those. The only thing that I would mildly be concerned about is getting that computer tuned so that it's not looking for the automatic transmission. Usually the automatic transmission and the car's ECU communicate with each other, and if you don't have a automatic transmission in there, you get a check engine light. If you don't have emissions testing, that's not a problem. The car's still running fine without an automatic transmission because you're doing that stuff manually. Dark Passenger, man, thank you for your help, man. I see you left a donation for the great help you provide recently on my 850. Thanks so much, man. You are welcome. So yeah, finding those anti-sway bars. Since then, I've found a couple sets of those IPD anti-sway bars. People just don't know how to spot them. Now, I used to make junkyard videos kind of often because I lived in Albuquerque where I went to the junkyard all the time. I wasn't as busy as I was now. And man, I went out to the junkyard and seen a set of IPD. And what I was saying was, I used to go out to the junkyard and film myself walking to the junkyard. And I would tip down and check to see if it had an IPD bar or not. And somebody picked that up watching my videos. They say, Robert, every time you go in the junkyard and you come approach an 850 or SRV 70, I see you tip down on the driver's rear tire and look under the car. What are you looking for? I'm looking for those IPD anti-sway bars because those things are almost $500 a pair. And if I could jerk somebody to salvage yard for $20 a bar, I'm going to do it. If I don't even need it, I'm going to do it because I'm going to run into somebody that don't have a set and I'll normally help them out with those things, selling them 50 cents on a dollar or something. I make a few bucks for all of my runs to the junkyard. They save money on buying them used versus new. I'm not against buying them new, but not everybody can afford to do that all the time. Spybot 3000. Just wanted to say thank you. I saw a video rebuilding a fuel pump assembly. Corolla 9th generation. I still refer to that video every once in a while. Man, thanks for tuning in. I'm not a Toyota guy, but hey, I'm a car guy. And I'm glad you found the video, found it useful. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see if anybody made any comments about some junkyard finds here. Stewart, the easiest way to get an engine up to the front of the yard without wheelbarrow is to pull another machining engine and carry both at once, one in each hand. Okay, I have to remember that. That way I don't lean when I walk. I won't have any shoulders when I walk either. So yesterday, before I pulled the engine all the way out, because a lot of junkyards, they have the front loaders and they say, I asked the lady at the cash register, hey, who do I talk to about getting this engine up to the cash register so I can buy it? The lady said, you bring it up yourself. I was like, what do you mean? This thing is like all the way up and over the hill, like a quarter mile away. She said, and? She started talking down to me like I was like a 14-year-old or something. I didn't appreciate that. I was like, well, what do you mean by that? She said, well, man, we sell about 250 engines here a day, and people just bring them up to the front. They get a wheelbarrow, they get one of those carts that look like a wagon or whatever. Just get it up here and look. I'm like, I ain't seen one engine come out of here today. What do you mean y'all selling 250 engines a day? Are you sure about that? You know, her point was people bring them up front themselves, but I was used to the salvage yard hoping to get those up there. They getting several $100s for a junkyard engine. They getting more for that engine than they paid for that whole entire car. It's a shame. I've junked a few cars, full cars. You know what these people offer me for a car and they insist on getting a battery? Half of these junkyards offer $50 to $100 for a whole car. The other half might come up $150, $200, but you are rarely being offered more than $200, $250 for a whole dang car. They offered me $50 for my daughter's S60 T6. Like, are y'all out of your mind? One place said they'll come get it for free just to get it off my property. I stripped that thing down and out, and they came. One place I finally found a place gave me like 150 bucks. They messed up my schedule a little bit. I negotiated a little more. I got about $225 for that shell, and I mean it was a shell. There wasn't much left of that thing, shelled out. And so these junkyards are selling engines out of these cars that they put in their junkyard for 2 times more than they probably paid for the whole car. It's like, and you can't help me get it up to the cash register? You drag this whole car from wherever you got it 10, 15, 20, 30 miles away, and you can't get somebody to get this engine up there? That's crazy. Okay, what would be the best way to resolve an all key loss situation on the 04 S60? I have a metal key, no transponder. Tow that thing to the dealer, man, and get it done that way. Now, there are some locksmiths, but I think they need a good transponder to program the car. And there's a couple of locksmiths locally that I know of that can come out, program a key right there on the spot. So that's a dealer situation. You're looking at $350 to $600, on getting that problem resolved. Don't lose a P2 key. That's bad. Matter of fact, any key in these programmed chip cars, it's just not good to lose those keys, man. And if you have one, save up enough money to get a spare. You want two. Let's see. What is Mita sending me a message about? Honey, I don't know what you're sending me a message about. I really can't do that. Yeah, send it on Messenger or something so I could try to read it over there on my computer. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Mita, send me a message on Messenger. Oh, look at that pretty picture on your Facebook page. Anyway, let me get back to my salvage yard shenanigans here. So, I need advice. Hey, Thomas, man, go ahead, shoot. I'm going to keep talking about my junkyard finds. Another incredible junkyard find I had was I went in the junkyard one day, walked down into the Volvo section. I used to just go twice a week just because I didn't have nothing to do. Go down there and see the new cars they had. Occasionally, I see something special that I could pull, resell, make a few bucks. You're not gonna get rich doing that, but you can make a few bucks. So I go in the junkyard, and it was like a '06 S60 T5 in there. This car looked like new. I was like, why is this car in the junkyard? Now, at the time, there was a big rave on these engines. They call them 4T5 engines or something like that. But they were out of the S60 T5 cars from '04 to '07 or something like that. They claim only 600 came to the U.S. And the rumor was that this engine was like the strongest T5 engine that Volvo ever made. Like, you can't blow this engine. Like, you can run this engine up to 900 horsepower because of the way it was put together. This is the engine you want. Like, the 4T5 engine out of the S60. I said, well, heck, I think I'm going to get it. I got to poking around trying to figure out why this car was in there. It looked like low miles. It had makeup on the steering wheel, a little bit on the sun visor, so I assume a woman was driving this car primarily. And it turned out that I'm not 100% sure, I pulled the charge pipe off for some reason, probably to get the fuel injectors or something like that, or get the coils. And the air conditioning cap that screws on where you service the air conditioner, like the low pressure port cap, was down in the turbo. So some mechanic was working on that car, and for some reason they had that charge pipe off, and at the same time they decided to mess with that air conditioner because that's the only way you get that cap off. Normally that cap has a leash on it. So you unscrew it, it falls to the side, you service the air conditioner, you lift it back up. This one had nothing on there. So these folks somehow dropped that cap, and it must have bounced on a couple of parts, fell down in the turbo, and they put the charge pipe on top of it. My guess is the person went and got their car, they start trying to drive it around, and they didn't have any power because this big cap is blocking most of the air from the turbo. Probably got into some kind of dispute. Hey, I need this car fixed. They probably diagnosed it as a bad turbo. Hey, Sweat, thanks, man, for giving those membership gifts. I appreciate it. And sent that car to the junkyard because it had a cap down in the turbo. Couldn't build boost. This thing looked good. So I pulled that engine out. It had a K24 on it. Got that K24 out of there. And there was a few other parts that I got out of there. That engine today is in Sweat D's 850 T5R. I think it's a 97 car. That engine is strong. Man, that thing, we suit that car up, that thing runs like a scalded dog, man. And every time he drives that car around, it's lowered, it looks good. Everybody wants to race him, even the police. You know, I don't race the police because they're sore losers. But man, that car runs nice. But that was another incredible find I had at the salvage yard. So occasionally, I'll walk into a salvage yard and see a untouched 850R. And it's like, wow, somebody junked the R, didn't even touch it. The seats are good, the dash pad's good, the metal door seals that say 850 stainless steel door seals are good. It's got the RECU in it. It's got the steering wheel that's nice most of the time. Those steering wheels are not destroyed. I even seen an R bumper on a couple of those things. Who junks an 850R with a good R bumper? I could count on one hand how many of those things I found. The first one I found, I was in Las Vegas. Running around with my brother-in-law. I said, hey man, I need to swing by the salvage yard. Oh, I'll go with you. Man, we get to the salvage yard, go in the yard, and there's an 850R in the yard. It was kind of looking ugly when I approached it. I was like, oh, there's an 850, but that kind of looks ugly. So we approached the car. He's like, these are cars you drive? Yeah. So I went around the back, and I looked inside the car, and it had the tan interior. So it was kind of rough. I was like, dang, somebody put R seats in this thing. Then I walked around the back. I seen where the R was scraped off the trunk. I said, man, it had an R on the trunk. Somebody scraped that off. And then I seen the rear wing with the flip on it. I was like, crap, they put an R rear wing. I'm still not thinking this is an R. It was white with that tan interior. So I walk up to the front of the car and I look down, there's the front bumpers there. I was like, holy crap, I got to get this. So I told my brother-in-law, I said, hey man, you got a knife on you? He said, yeah. I said, okay, stay here with the knife. I'm going to run and get a couple of tools. And if somebody try to take this bumper off, just cut them. Just cut them, man. I'll be right back. So, I got the bumper, I got the rear wing, and a couple other little bits off of that car. So actually, I think the bumper is still in my storage. So I have 3 R bumpers. One of them somebody purchased, so I got to deliver that soon. But I got 3 that aren't spoken for. So Two of them, one of them doesn't have damage. Two of them have damage on it. I think I'm gonna put one on Panther and then try to repair Panther's bumper and then put that in storage. I'm gonna keep one spare, and I got, I guess, an R out here that needs one, so I'll probably put one on Lucille. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Do. I guess some comments populated. Thomas, I thought you needed some advice. I don't see a question yet. You can always text me, or if you're over in Europe, you could WhatsApp me. That's the best way for me to communicate with people overseas. You can send me an email. Man, really, these secondary platforms for me are really not a good place to send messages if you want them responded to quickly. I respond to YouTube messages every day. I respond to text messages and WhatsApp almost every day. I'm not that keen on doing emails because I don't always have my computer with me. That's where I check most of my emails. I'll respond to those every other day. But you start leaving messages on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that, I may never find those messages. So try to send them to my phone, call, text, sometime email before you get off on some of these other secondary platforms. I call those secondary platforms because I don't get on them that often. Thanks for your help. 94 850 T5, the drivetrain computer 4.3 seems to be the trick. Okay. Yeah, I made a video recently. Thank you, Leslie. Because people have been having transmission issues. Transmission works perfect when they clear the code, but something along their drive triggers the code, whether it's shifting out of park or hitting kick down or something like that, and then they think they got a problem with the transmission. They're replacing solenoids, fluids. I've even known people to get a transmission rebuilt when nothing was wrong with the transmission. It was something else. And now I'm finding out that a lot of times it's the transmission computer. Fortunate for some people, I have saved a few of these transmission computers. So I have a couple of computers that I can let somebody get a hold of. So if you're having transmission issues and the transmission is not slipping, it's just falling into limp mode, and you can clear the code and it runs fine, there's a chance you have a problem with your transmission computer. So do consider that. All right, Mita, if you got a message for me, go ahead and send it there if you're still watching the live. Let me get back to a couple of these messages here. All right, so this guy that I sent the last transmission computer to that appeared to have fixed the car, he had a different, I think, transmission computer number in his car. So there is like, every year they tweak the computer or something, put different software on it, change the shift point, something. Maybe one shift point is for a non-turbo car, different shift points for the NA car. I don't know the difference. Anyway, I took 3-4 different computers. I put them in my car. I drove them a few miles to see if they acted differently. And a couple of them acted exactly the same. So I sent this gentleman that computer, and it's working fine. All right. A couple people took memberships. That's cool, man. I appreciate that. Hey, welcome here. If I hadn't said hi yet, Eric, man, thank you. AJ, DIY Network, MJ. Oh, man, before I forget, we had a drawing on my last live, and a guy that won the drawings, name was Jarek Jerek. His last name started with an S. I got it wrote down here. I had a drawing where I had my lawn guy pull a drawing. I took little pieces of paper like this. I balled them up. I stuck them in a little tissue box. Would open it. He reached his hand down in there, pulled one out. That's who won the drawing. So the dollar amount of contributions was something like $82 or something like that, which the prize for that level was either a bumper sticker or a Robert DIY cup. I don't have a cup with me. I thought I did, but I don't. Oh, here's one over here. Man, Mika's got that thing like a jingle box. She's got a Robert DIY cup. Let me let you guys see this over here. She's got a Robert DIY cup here, the Volvo on top of that, the 10 millimeter sockets that grow legs and walk away on top of that, and then she's got the Robert DIY cream car on top of that. So I'm not going to mess with that. But if you want to see what those cups looks like, you can go to my website. If you want one, you can order one. We have them in stock. They are fully ceramic, whatever, and you can throw them in the dishwasher. That's what I do with mine. Throw mine in the dishwasher. So if you are he and you watching, man, get in touch with me so I can ship you your cup, because I can't find you. There, surprisingly to me, was no way to send you a message through my YouTube stuff, even though you're one of my contributing members. Like in Patreon, I could go in there, I could look you up, I could call you, I could text you, I could email you, I could mail you stuff. Here on YouTube, it was like kind of like a hands-off thing where I couldn't even send you a DM. I didn't understand that. So, all right, Rick, how you doing, Rick? Rick has a question. He got a 2002 XC70. The AC radiator has a high pressure cap that turns, but I'm unable to remove. Are some of those unserviceable? Should I break the cap off so I can hook up my gauges? I guess you mean it's a plastic cap. If that thing doesn't screw off, it should pull and pop off. You shouldn't have to break it. Just kind of get something on there, kind of like a puller, and pop that thing off. And I mean, you can service that thing through the low pressure side, but it's best if you use both, if it has both. That V70R was in there for the headlight. Swag went and helped me get that engine out of the junkyard. When he looked around at the car, he said, man, I bet they junked this thing for the headliner. The headliner was horrible. It was falling down in there. It was horrible. So that's why that thing was junked, according to Swag. Hey, Mama! Norma Gomez, Mama! That's my mama. Y'all be nice to my mama. Smash that like button in the chat. Okay, so, man, here, nobody smashed the like button. We got 39 people on here. I've been live for almost 50 minutes and no likes. Come on. Help me out, people. That might help this live gain some traction for some reason or another. Say hi a couple people. I appreciate you being here. Dumb ideas in video games. Are you more of a wagon or a sedan guy? Man, my two cars are wagons. I'm not real into the sedan. Now, Queen Bee was a sedan. I liked and enjoyed that, but that was mainly my weekend car. I'm unfortunately working a lot. Wagons, I could pile up a bunch of stuff in there, lock the door, and walk away. A sedan, I can't throw that much stuff in there, you know? So, I'm more of a wagon guy. Men, how you doing? Mate Peterson, thanks for coming and joining. I just pulled my Volvo V70 from the barn. It has been there 4 years. I have a new battery, but the car still has no electricity going on. It's dead. I hope it's just a bad fuse. Greeting from Estonia. Man, you got the secondary set of cables that goes from your battery post to the fuse box. I assume you're talking about a P80 V70. So check that. Man, I'm really, really against parking vehicles and leaving them parked for months and years at a time. A critter can chew one wire and ruin your whole day. I I tell people to bait those cars. You know, I think it's best to have a car that's going to be sitting, not running. Run that thing totally out of gas, pump all the gas out so you don't have gas turning into turpentine all in your fuel lines and everything else. And let it sit until you're ready to roll it. When you're ready to roll the engine over a couple times by hand, crank it, whatever you got to do, put some fresh gas in there, try to start it. But if you bait the car, you don't have as many problems with critters getting in there and eating the wire that you need to get that thing going right. It's sad. Thank you, Orgs. 14. Them ideas. I don't see the like button. Man, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. Maybe you got to tap the screen, pull up, pull down something where it'll give you the opportunity. I still got one like, but I would think Sweck would like it, and I liked it, so I should have more than one like. No, I show like one like down here, but on my phone I see 22, which is good. I got 37 people watching. I got 22 likes, and it even has a financial gauge up there so far. Because I have the super chat thing activated, I got $12 so far in the chat. I appreciate that. Sweck said the like button's at the top. Greetings from Trinidad. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, I got a question here. My 850 is a sedan 2.0, 250K miles. You have been reaching over the past few times on the comments I've placed. Okay. Changing the serpentine belt is a pain in the butt. A little tight when you put a new one on. Yeah, man, I've heard stories about people taking 2-3 days or longer to get that serpentine belt on, especially if they don't know how it goes on. You may know I have a little square tool that I have manufactured to help get that serpentine belt tensioner loose with a little screw that I use to pin that thing open. So if you have the tension pulled off the serpentine belt tensioner and you pin it, it can be easier to get that on. I hate to say it takes me about 5 to 8 minutes, and I know it sucks for other people. Rebuilding the 5234T. Nice. 23 likes at the moment. Found it in the top. Just added another. Thank you. Shrek, LOL. And yes, I have a few receipts for green booze. The like is on the top under Robert DIY. Hit the refresh on the YouTube page. The likes will update. Let's see. I'm going to hit it over here. See if it refreshes on my computer. Oh, gave me a commercial. Yep, it did refresh. 24 likes down in here. So I got my computer up and my live chat. I'm on my phone on the live chat. So I'm watching myself on the computer. It won't let me skip the stupid ad on my computer. So, those are kind of my favorite finds in the junkyard. Some RN sway bars, a T5 engine out of an S60, which was in perfect shape. Sad thing, got the turbo and everything off of that. Occasionally I'll find something special in a car, not that often. One time there was a box in the back of, I think, like a S90, like a 98, 90, 97, 98 S90. I kind of peeked in the box. It was a brand new AC compressor. For a Volvo, man, that's at least $300-400. I took that thing up to the register and said, hey, how much y'all want for this box? It's got something heavy in it. They shook the box. They said, will you give us $15 for it? I said, I absolutely will. Paid $15 for a brand new AC compressor. All right. Pink 9. Let me make sure I didn't miss any comments up here before I hit Pink 9's question comment. All right. Got a question about a 98 V70R. It smokes on startup. When on level ground or pointed downhill. It goes away when driving. Won't do it pointing uphill. Also, if you idle a couple minutes, it's pointed down. I got a video called Why Has My Car Got This Bad Habit of Smoking? Smoking's a bad habit, man. I don't care, you know. You can smoke all you want, but it's a bad habit. It's not supposed to be good for you. And when your car is smoking, that's a bad habit thing. But I got a video that tells you what's going on. If I had to bet any amount of money, even 30 cents, I would say your valve stem seals are bad. Which is common among cars that are 15 years old. You're talking about a car that's 27 years old, 28 years old, 27. Man, that thing's got bad valve stem seals. And it ain't going away until you pull that cylinder head and replace those valve stem seals. Now, some people like to do magic trick, and they like to do valve stem seals with the head still on. I don't know if it's any quicker, that's for sure. And then, when you got valve stem seals leaking, you also are running the risk on burning the valve. You can't clean the deposits off of your valves unless you pull that head and pull those valves out. So people, they change valve stem seals with the head still in the car. They're risking burning the valve in those cars. And these cars burn valves. So the worst thing about your car smoking is enough oil is going down the exhaust that is getting past the catalytic converter and smoking out the back, which means that oil getting past those valve stem seals is going to clog that cat up. Then you're going to have a problem looking for a cat with a cat code. So I'm at the point now where before I put an engine in, I want to pull the cylinder head. I want to clean all the carbon off those valves. I want to put new valve stem seals in it, put it back together. I mean, you could do that yourself. What I like to do with my cars, I get my hands on the cylinder head. I got 3 cylinder heads extra. I rebuild those cylinder heads, make sure they're true, put new valve stem seals in there, and then I pull the head off of my car, put that head on. You know, it's just, it could be done in one day. My mechanic here in Cincinnati, this dude is a maniac, man. He can do a cylinder head job if somebody's handing them tools in like 4.5 hours. Start to finish. Pull the whole head, put it all back together. Boom, that car's running that afternoon. Man, I'm like, God dang. The quickest I've ever done was about 8.5 hours. I was in Virginia with my friend Moshe. He needed a cylinder head. He was leaking valve stem seals. And we did that head. I did that head in one day. Swindy, Robert, nice to see you live. I follow your channel for about 2010 to 2020 to keep my 850 alive here in Germany. Nice. I sold it with almost 400,000 kilometers on there, and that thing is still running. That's nice, man. Glad I could help, my friend. All right, dumb idea, video games. Reacting, not reacting, LOL. Told you about what mile per gallon I get. Compression cylinder 4 is lowest, 170. The rest, that compression is fine. It's within range. About V70R, that you can get low PSI values when the fuel pump is off. 170 is not low, man. On your compression test, when you do that, you're supposed to be within 15% from your highest to lowest. 15% of 180 is 30 psi. So if your highest or lowest is within 30 psi, you're good. And the chances of that cylinder actually being low is slim. I don't know what you're saying about miles per gallon, but heck, I got my car out here getting horrible miles per gallon. I think I should be getting 28, 29 miles to the gallon, and I'm getting 24, 25. That's 15, almost 20% bad. Or I don't like it, but I'm struggling with what's actually causing it. Sold it to a young guy, 18, trainee at a local Volvo dealer, so it'll live on. Awesome. Hope everyone in the chat is having a great day. Cool. Swindy, thank you so much for your contribution. I appreciate it. It took me up from $12 to like $19. Nice. At any rate, man, I appreciate you guys' financial support. You know, this is kind of what I do for a living. And YouTube, at some point, decided they wanted to make their side profitable too after Google purchased them. And they encourage us to encourage our viewers that benefit from our, I guess, our posts, or what they call it. We're creators, content, benefit from our content to help us make it through the month. So I appreciate that. Appreciate the people that have memberships. Thank you so much. Celebrate the first super on the live chat. I was thinking it was probably the valves themselves as well. 1 out of 10, how difficult is the job you would rate it? Man, if you use my videos, it's not that hard. I have teenagers pulling the cylinder head, changing valves in their head, putting it all back together, getting their car on the road. You need a couple of tools, not really special tools. I don't think it's that complicated versus critical of the parts you use, and you got to pay attention to what you're doing. So I would say it's a 4 out of 5. You can do it yourself. Oh, you said 1 out of 10. Let's say 8. I'm not really a 1 out of 10 guy. That's a lot of numbers. I'm not that smart. I like to use small numbers. 1 out of 5 is a 4. So, you, like I said, you can do it in a day. You know. My valve stem seals are still good after 29 years. If your car is not consuming oil, I'd agree. But man, it's hard to find one of these cars that can go 1,000 miles without adding oil. It's just hard. It's awesome. They're like to go bad with cars that take short rides frequently and rarely go over 3,000 K. I don't know about that. Now, dumb ideas, are you the original owner to that car? Is it possible that somebody had a cylinder head done on that car prior to your ownership? I don't know. You know, that's something you may want to consider or look into. Maybe that car has had a cylinder head job done. All right, let's see here. Somehow, my chat jumped pretty far. I'm trying to get it to where I can move it a little bit, not too much. Let me move it with this. Okay, Gregory. Hey, welcome, Gregory. Have a 2004 Volvo S60 NA M56. So I've already talked about the subject. I'm just answering questions now, and if I get done answering questions or whatnot, I'll get back on that. Um, in a M56, is it possible to change the PCV by taking off the radiator? I'm gonna go with a no on that. I mean, you could take the whole car apart if you want, but that intake manifold is gonna have to come out. Um, yeah, you probably gonna have to take that fuel rail loose and take that intake manifold off. Nothing to do with changing the radiator. The car without the history, compression loss, 2 horsepower, and putting it on the dyno. Man, that's not bad. You dynoed the car and only lost a couple of horsepower. Robert, could Volvo have made it any more difficult to change the headlight bulbs? On what vehicle? I think headlight bulbs are relatively easy to replace considering other cars. One of my top videos is how to replace a headlight bulb in a Hyundai Sonata. Those cars burn a lot of headlight bulbs. Let me tell you how many views that video has. Headlight bulb Sonata. I published it in 2016. Let's check the analytics to that. How many views a month I get. I only got 421 views on it this month, or the last 28 days. Since it was uploaded, 373,000 views. So almost 400,000 views on that video. I made a little bit of cheese off of that one. Hey, if you have a YouTube channel that's monetized, you could go in here, pull up any video, and look at the analytics on it. So that's what I just did real quick to see those headlight bulb changes on that car. That's a lot. Yeah, they probably could have made it more difficult. Some of these cars, like the S60 passenger side, you pretty much got to pull the computer box out to get the headlight bulb replaced. And then you got to take the bumper. Oh my God, no. Did you not see my BMW video on doing the headlight bulb? 4 hours to do the headlight bulb. No, it could have been way worse. You could replace both headlights and then go to lunch with a Volvo 850. Dude, oh yeah, 06 XC70 passenger side. Yeah, that's a pain. That's one of those pull a bumper light bulbs. Yeah, but you can still probably do that in an hour and a half at the most. I get 30 miles per hour average and 35 miles per gallon on the motorway. Man, that's really good. Man, there ain't nothing wrong with that fuel consumption. On tires that are on the end of life without cruise control. Cool. Somebody else gets 32 on the highway with a cross country. Not bad if you keep your foot out of it in the turbo. Now, I've had turbo cars and know other people that has too, that their miles per gallon is really not affected by how much they put their foot in it. Kind of surprising. It gets up to the speed quicker and then they just cruise. But putting their foot in it hasn't really affected them. I get about 14 miles to the gallon and 25 mile an hour. That's almost that's a little bit low. I tell people to, if they got a trip computer, reset that so they can see their average speed. A lot of people lose fuel economy when they sit around idle all the time. I had a friend, half the time he's in his car, it's idle. Like, why your car running? You just burning gas, lowering your miles per gallon. Had to replace his exhaust after 19 years. It just rusted out. Why'd you have to do that? I'm the third owner of this Volvo. Had it for 24 years, but the death brought it without history. But so far, oil consumption is about 1 liter. Man, that's pretty low. 1040. It was losing a little more. Yeah, thicken the oil up on that one. Hey Robert, I messaged at the end of your last live stream. Yes, I got a 98 V70R, but front wheel drive. Heads up to everyone with Volvos of this age. Check your ground straps on your engine. Man, I'm kind of surprised by how many cars have ground straps that are broken. I was in a car the other day in New York and I was doing some work. I went under the car and the ground strap from the chassis to the transmission was broke all the way off. And then the ground strap from the engine to the firewall was broke. Man, I didn't even know how that car was starting. But yeah, check your grounds. And I think if a car sits, that gets worse. You probably need to refresh those ground wires every once in a while. Take the bolt out, clean them up, put them back together, and make sure you got a good ground. Retro Revolutions. I was having all sorts of issues. Parasitic drain. Was lucky to get a day or two out of my fairly new battery. Eesh. One time I was changing past high beam bulb in the S60R. It fell inside the housing. Man, he still... he just left it there. You know, you almost got to pull those lights out. My 960 has 297 compression between 190, 181. Changing the separator now. Spark plug clean. Awesome. Man, those 960, it's a white block engine, man. They're really good engines. This car here, this engine I got this morning, I want to say that last oil change sticker was like 7 years ago, and it was 290,000. So this thing has probably 200,000 miles or 190,000 miles on this engine, and it feels really good. I feel good about it. How do you recommend to proceed if every time you come to a stop, the chrome 20s keep spinning? Man, as long as they spinning, man, that's good. You don't want those things binding up. I remember when those spinners was really popular. Some computer customers I had a set on their Hummer. And when they would drop their kids off at school, kids wanted to touch them, and they were real spinners on that Hummer. My God, this kid almost lost his finger trying to stop those things from spinning one day. They had to like get them off the truck because kids wanted to touch them while they were spinning. Turn out the rear left from the front. We're near completely snapped. And the main on the front was completely snapped. Yeah, that's crazy. Replaced them both, sorted out. All right. Sweat deal. Be right back. So I started off this live talking about my wins at the salvage yard. Asked if anybody else had any good wins that they've gotten out of salvage yard. My number one win, I think, to date, or close to it, it's close second and third, was finding IPD anti-sway bars. So one time I was in the Portland area and I jumped in the junkyard and there was a young guy in there pulling the anti-sway bar. And he was having a hard time. And I was like, man, what are you doing? He's like, man, this is the IPD anti-sway bar. I'm trying to pull it. I said, let me help you with that. I said, did you check the back? He said, yeah, I checked the back. There's not one in the back. But there was one in the back. So he carried that front bar out, and I went and got the back bar. I didn't want to pull it while he was there, make him feel bad. But I pulled that back bar and had an extra back bar for a while. Then one day I found a front bar with no back. You know, like these all-wheel drive cars, they'll put the front bar on and a lot of times no backs. So, Mackenzie, hello. Rick, not allowed to have spinners anymore because too many accidents. Man, where's that at? Pull up in the stop. Wheel still spinning. I must be winning. How that song go? Not allowed to have spinning anymore. Too many accidents. Be more careful. Hello. Thank you for coming in. My second big win was finding that S60 T5 sedan. Beautiful car. Somebody dropped the cap to the AC recharge port down into the turbo, jammed up the turbo system, and they junked the car because they thought the car was busted, needed a turbo. Turbo estimates on those cars were like $3,800. They couldn't see spending $3,800 on a new turbo, and the mechanic had to drop it down there. Who else would drop a big bolt like that down in the turbo charge pipe? Crazy. Yes, Sweat D, man, the IPD anti-sway bars are winning. So, anti-sway bars, that 4T5 engine out of that S60 T5. And, you know, I found other things from time to time. One of the hardest things to find is cargo shades for those P80 cars. Man, it's a shame. People have them, something breaks on them, they take them, they throw them away or whatnot, then the car's without them. Sometimes you'll see the car, it'll have the holes for the cargo shade, but no cargo shade. I have found maybe 2 of them in my junkyard lifetime. You know, when it comes to how many times I've been to junkyards and how many times I found them, if those are the only things I was looking for, I'd have to charge $5,000 for one of those things, man. It costs about that much to find 2. So anyway, any of you guys ever want parts out of the junkyard? If I'm going, I can go get it. Occasionally, I'll get special orders. People say, hey, Robert, I need this part from a 960. You got a 960 there. I got to have this part. And a lot of times there is a 960, 1 or 2 in salvage yards close by. I go get the part, cover my time, cover the part, cover the shipping, and you're good to go. People see that wheels are spinning, they lock up their brakes, and the guy behind them hit them. Really? Oh my God. How do they see that? Oh, like the truck comes up to the stop, they see the spinner spinning, so they hit their brakes. They're not watching the truck, they're watching the wheels. All right, I got you. That's weird. I never would have expected that. Message retracted. Spider Mama, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Somebody got another gift membership by Sweck. Thank you very much. Oh, that's good to know. I would definitely look you up if I need a part. Yeah, I do parts all the time for people. It's sometimes a distraction, but you know, I don't mind doing it, especially if, like, when I was in Albuquerque, when I lived in Albuquerque, I was going to junkyard twice a week anyway, so it wasn't any extra trip for me. Now, I've been here in Cincinnati and have people send me all the way to Louisville for a part. That's 4 hours. 2 hours there, 2 hours back, hour or 2 in the salvage yard. That's 6 hours. So they had to cover a whole day for me to go down there and back. But if they had to buy that part new, they would have paid double that anyway. So they were okay with it. They could afford it all as well. So sometimes I'll grab parts at a junkyard off a side check. There was a guy got a part for me the other day. Oh, thermostat housing. Man, you guys have really got to be careful with thermostat housings on these white block engines. Those thermostat housings are like rice paper down there waiting to be hit, trying to get that screw out. And as soon as somebody tap on them, tap, tap, clank, you need a new housing. And the housing on one website that I found that had one was like $170. I was able to grab one out of the salvage yard, send it the same day. You know, I don't know if you needed it that quick, but I had a window of time, and I ran up there and got it. How many Volvos do you own currently, Robert? Well, I sold one and one got crushed. I had stored at somebody's place. The person's disappeared and the car's gone. I assumed it got crushed. So I probably own maybe 10, maybe. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out here, 6, 7. Maybe I'm down to 7. No, 8. I got 8 Volvos right now. And all of them are 850s except for one, which is a S70. I probably need to get that S70 back home. Oh no, I got one too. Some guy stole from me. I got the title anyway. He got the car, I got the title. He hadn't finished paying for the car. And now that I've let the time to file well, it's about the time about to end now, to file a small claims court thing. You know, the guy's a coward. And when somebody's hiding and dipping and dodging, trying to sell a car behind your back, stuff like that, he's just a coward. You take him to court, you're not going to get no money. And it probably ain't even working. And he actually stiffed me for a bunch of labor as well. Had me working on a Toyota he had me working on another 850 he had. And I trust people that they would pay for stuff they asked me to do. And I was out in California. I did all this work for him. He stiffed me and stole the car. Got the car half paid for, hadn't paid for. The crazy thing is, that car is so beautiful and so nice. It's probably worth double what he's paid for it. And he won't pay me so that he can sell it. It's like, duh. Like, pay me off, get your title, and sell a car if you don't want it. You would make money, but no, he wants to be stubborn because he's a creep. You know, I don't know. And fortunate for me, I don't have too many people steal from me. You know, I had a long stint of time where people would pay me cash, and I wouldn't even count the money. You know, you're either going to pay me or you're not. I'm not, really hurting on that. But anyway, so most people I deal with, stand-up people, they appreciate my help. They appreciate the savings. We all good and well. All right, Jay Gibson. Let me check a couple of messages here. I'm getting behind. Oh, that's good to know. I will definitely look you up if I need a part. How many Volvos you own? FCP Euro has thermostat housing. That's where I got mine. I don't remember the price. Wow. Earlier this year, like in January, they started having serious price hikes. Stuff was going from $200 to $600. Stuff was going from $30 to $120. So things are not priced where they were. The example is, last time I checked, the PCV kit for the 850 S&V 70 was like $620 versus the $200 it was last year. It's just crazy. Well, maybe not $200 because that one pipe that wraps around the engine went up to $190 last year. But anyway, some parts have jumped tremendously with pricing, so I don't quote prices anymore unless I go look them up. It's just crazy. Oh, what I was saying, I got an S70, and I really would rather have a V70 T5 or GLT 98 model. I want to have one of those cars so I could test things like ABS modules, door latches, and things like that. And it just looks like a newer car. I got a set of jewels for one. I got a rear wing that I could put on one. It'd be nice to get one of those. Right now, all of my cars are 850s except for that S70. Wow. Hey, Jay. Salute you as well. Love your videos, Robert. Looking to buy my first Volvo. Is there a certain model you would recommend? I was thinking either a 240 or 850, definitely want to learn and work on them too. Man, I think it's easier to get parts for 850s. All of my cars are basically 850s. They're good cars. They're fun. A lot of work to do on them. I'm an 850 guy right now. Retro has 3 and a Hyundai. Yeah, I forgot about that. I got 10 vehicles because I got a Hyundai Santa Fe. Thanks for reminding me, honey. uh, it's still theft. Yep, it does suck. All right. Order the Haynes Repair Manual paperback copy from FCP IPD Volvo for how to work on it. How to work on what? I mean, I would not order a repair manual for an 850. There's just too many good DIY resources out there. And the Haynes manual is written for mechanics. It's not written for your everyday person. You could go on Matthew's Volvo site, Volvo forums, or YouTube and absolutely fix anything and everything on your 850. I don't know why somebody would want that paperback manual for a Haynes manual. Not for that car. Get it for another car, but don't get it for no Volvo 850 P80 car. It's just not worth it. And those instructions in there, like I said, they're written for mechanics. You can't understand half the stuff in them anyway. Rick, Robert, gotta go. It's been over 81 minutes. See you next time. Thank you, Rick. Yeah, I'd probably, unless I'm doing something productive, like going live while I rebuild a cylinder head or something like that, these lives will probably be an hour at best. I've been on here almost an hour and a half, so I'll probably shut it down after I answer these questions here in 4 minutes. Have a manual 850 T5 Autumn Gold. Man, that's like my favorite color 850. Parked outside someone's garage. I feel your pain. Man, why is it parked there, Retro? Volvo engine coolant thermostat assembly Whaler. The thermostat, that's the whole thermostat and housing and everything, 110. Cool. Have a great day. All right, thanks for stopping by. It's surprising how many things are different between the A50s and S&V 70s. Volvo claimed that the S&V 70s was the 850 with 700 improvements. That's what I've heard. So there's at least 700 things that's different and changed. They call them improvements. I call them changes because a lot of that stuff's not improvement. Case in point, number one pet peeve, door panels. Man, those door panels in those S&V 70s, if it's not the R version, they're horrible. Those panels shrink, the vinyl pops, stretches, and they just look bad. The headlights, oh my gosh. The headlights on those P80 S&V 70s are horrible. They didn't last long before they start losing their finish. 850s never had that problem. So, engine needs rebuilt, the cam belt snapped. Oh, man. So, you only really need a cylinder head. The chances that the lower end busted on that is very slim. How long is that? Retro, send me a DM, email, text message about that snap timing belt. I'm seeing more and more of those, man. I don't know why people don't do their timing belt. That's like one of the big things I tell people do when they get the car. And it's not only the belt, probably broke because something else went wrong. Water pump failed, idler failed, tensioner failed. It's rarely the belt, but occasionally it is the belt. Check out the 850 then. What would you think is a fair price for a used one? I live on the East Coast and prices are all over the place. And it strictly depends on the condition. The T5s are worth more than the non-turbos. Depends on if it's rusted or not rusted. To me, if a car is running, can safely go on the road, it's at least $1,500. If a car is nice, had a lot of repairs, maintenance, new tires, new timing belt, and all that stuff, it may be worth 5, 6 G's. And then you have special cars that's worth more than that. But in general, if it's a car that's running, you could get in it, drive it home. You know, $1,500 to 3,500. But there's a big sway, and it's mainly depends on the condition. What I normally do is I'll give somebody the benefit of the doubt before I get there. They'll tell me how nice the car is, how it doesn't need nothing. Then they start telling me all the things it needs. I thought you said it didn't need anything. Now it needs 20 things. Anyway, I assume the car is in great condition when I show up. When I get there, I start seeing the things it needs, and I take that great condition price, let's say it's $5,000, and I start taking off. Oh, it needs tires. That's $700. Now we're from $5,000 to $4,300. Oh, it needs a headliner. That's $1,000. Now we're from $4,300 to $3,300. Oh, it needs brakes. Another $500. And I just start chiseling down off of what it needs, and then I come to my conclusion that, hey, this $5,000 car is worth $1,600. What do you want for it? Because I'm not paying $5,000 and got to do $3,500 worth of work. Just, you just got to approach it from that. Yeah, I mean, you got to be technical. You tell somebody to get a manual. Oh, the water pump. Man, I'm telling you, man. Was it a Volvo water pump, an Asian water pump, or some after? There we go. The next line is an aftermarket water pump. Man, I've heard people tell me that they've had aftermarket water pumps fail in like 5,000 miles. To me, that's a month. I didn't get a month out of that thing. That's a shame. I think you should be able to sue a company that the water pump doesn't last the service life of the part. So in the 850, that water pump's supposed to last a minimum of 70,000 miles. If it breaks within 70,000 miles, the company that sells it should be liable for that. I don't know if it leaked before it failed. A lot of times they do. I was driving down the interstate one day. I seen a little coolant light pop on. I said, oh, I looked up. It said rest area. I took the rest area. I opened the hood. Water coolant is coming out of my timing belt cover. I jerked the timing belt cover off. The water pump is coming apart. The sprocket is coming away from the engine. Coolant is leaking out. And my timing belt's hanging off about 1/4 of an inch. That situation was getting bad fast. I drove it to an AutoZone and 3.5 miles away, shut it off, and survived it. Got a new water pump, got it home, and then put an Asian one on it when I got home. But man, yeah, water pumps is bad to have an aftermarket water pump. 202 C70 high pressure automatic. Lately, the engine has been surging after it warms up. No engine code. Not sure what to look for. Surges, man, it's a sensor. And it could be a fuel pump. So if the fuel pump's old, I'd probably start by replacing that. Could have an engine coolant temperature. And it could also be the computer. You could have a bad ECU, but that's a sad situation. I'm sorry to hear that. Aftermarket water pump, biggest regret of my life. Send me a DM, man. I don't know if I can help you, but like I said, if you have a cylinder head ready, you could take that thing, throw it on there, and be done with that in a day. I got a V70 97 TDI, 9 years, great car, never broke down on the road. They normally don't. Nobody seems to want to work where I live. Where is that at? That's great advice. Okay. All right, I'm going to see what Retro says about where his location is. And but like I said, you can send that stuff through the DM or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, take care of a couple things here. And, man, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate the donations. I've 3 or 4 people made donations. Hit the like button if you're watching this. Haven't done that yet. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. And thank you, Scroll, for being a big fan of my channel. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, kind of a little bit of a news. So YouTube has this thing where they recognize or reward their content creators when they hit different milestones. Long time ago, I think it was like 5,000 subscribers, they send you a plaque. Well, in my time, it was 100,000, maybe 250, then 500. Now it's 100,000, 500,000, and a million. A million, man, those people are raking it in. But the standard is 100,000 subscribers. Well, I crossed that milestone on July 4th of 2018. Still no plaque. You're supposed to get an email, and that email say, hey, congratulations, you got this milestone. Here's if you want this plaque, click this link, put in this code, and we'll send it to you. I never seen one of those. And it could be my bad for not checking my email, but I never seen one. So a couple years later, a couple of my followers, supporters, say, Robert, you ought to get your plaque, man. So I go in there and start digging. It was very complicated trying to get a hold of somebody to find out why I didn't have a plaque. The other day, when it was 192 degrees outside, couldn't go outside, I decided to dig in on this thing and try to find it. Took me about 2.5 hours to finally get somebody on YouTube on the live chat. They seem all friendly, excited, all bubbly, you know, kind of like a young person, I don't know, 18, 19-year-old, excited about your channel, you know. And instead of saying, yes, you qualify, they said, well, there's something going on here. I don't have the approval to set you up to get that plaque. I got to go next level, and we'll try to get this worked out. I'm like, try to get it worked out? What do you mean? I got 237,000 subscribers. I'm way past the 100,000 mark. What do you got to get worked out? Well, you know, that's not something that we give everybody. We have to feel you deserve it. Deserve it? Like, what's that mean? I'm posting original content. I'm helping hundreds of thousands of people. I got 63 million views. I got all these comments. I'm responding to my comments. Like, what are y'all having a problem with that I don't deserve or haven't earned, or you got to look into whether I should get a plaque or not? Well, I have to send you out a live chat to the email. So they sent me an email, and 3-4 days later, I get a message. Hey, I get the message 2 in the morning. Hey, just wanted to let you know we have decided that you have earned and deserved this plaque. Click this link, enter this code, we'll send you a plaque. I didn't notice, but they let you put what you want on the plaque as your name. So I put Robert DIY Spinner, DIY in parentheses. That's how the plaque is supposed to arrive within 3 to 4 weeks. So I'll be having my YouTube plaque soon. So I appreciate everybody that subscribe. That's what their main goal is. Original content, not all this emotional stuff that wrecks people's lives, with your freedom of speech, and 100,000 subscribers. So hey, I appreciate you all support, subscribing, and I hope you're getting your money's worth for sure. And I mean, my main goal on posting videos is that people can see how to do things for themselves and save money. And I had a couple of bad experiences with mechanics myself, so I started working on my own stuff. So that's how it goes. So anyway, thank you, Sweat D. Yes, I will have a plaque soon if what I said hadn't interrupted that in some kind of way. But yeah, so I'll put that thing on the wall behind us. I'll hold it up when I get my next live after that. And hopefully I'll see you guys, if not sooner or later, on another live soon. So I appreciate you guys. Have a good day. And if you need something, let me know. Help you the best way I can. Peace.